Kettlebell Good Morning is a hip hinge exercise that strengthens and stretches the hamstrings, strengthens the glutes and the lower back. There are two main variations of this exercise. In the first variation, the kettlebell is held by the horns in a bottoms-up position against the chest. Pull the kettlebell into the chest by pulling your elbows back, pinching shoulder blades together, and keeping your neck long. Avoid hunching forward, shrugging the shoulders, or pulling with the arms. Instead, pull the elbows directly back, gently pinch the shoulder blades together, and keep your shoulders down and back. Rounding the back and hunching the shoulders doesn't engage the posterior chain. Pulling the shoulders back and down does. Keeping your shoulder blades pinched together, hinge at the hips by pushing your hips back until you feel a gentle stretch in your hamstrings. At that point, pause and then return to the starting position, assuming a vertical plank. Your knees will bend at the bottom, but they will not push forward. Your shins should stay vertical. The most common error is bending the back in order to get lower to compensate for tight hamstrings. Doing this makes the exercise far less effective and increases the risk of lower back injury. To maximize effectiveness, it is better to reduce your range of motion but keep your lower back straight. With time, your hamstring flexibility will improve and your range of motion will increase. At the top of each rep, assume the vertical plank. Squeeze glutes, brace abdominals, and pull your kneecaps up. To ensure spine safety, you should be competent at the vertical plank before you begin practicing the Good Morning. When dismounting the kettlebell, bend your knees and keep your back straight. The second variation of the Good Morning is the back hold. Pick the kettlebell up the same way as in the front hold, but then halo it around the head and place it on your upper back. Grab the top of the handle and point your elbows up. Pointing the elbows up rather than forward ensures that your back remains straight. It also provides a nice stretch to your lats. From there, the technique standard is the same. Keeping the back straight, hinge at the hips until your torso is as close to horizontal as your hamstring flexibility allows. Keep your shins vertical and assume a vertical plank at the top of each rep. Just like in the previous version, the most common error is bending the back in order to compensate for tight hamstrings and increase the range of movement. Instead, keep your back straight, even if it means that your range of movement is shorter. Try to keep your elbows pointing above the head at all times and gradually increase the depth over time. You should feel a stretch in the hamstrings at the bottom of each rep. Final technique point to note is that you must keep your knees in line with the toes. Avoid letting your knees collapse inwards because that switches off the gluteus medius. Pushing the knees out helps you keep the gluteus medius working. There are two methods to exit the behind the neck hold safely. Method number one is to halo the kettlebell around the head the same way you got into position. Then dismount the kettlebell by bending your knees and keeping your back straight. The second method is to release the kettlebell with one hand, grab it on the same side, then pull it over and dismount it safely. When deciding which variation to use, go with what's more comfortable for you. In addition to the main benefits stated in the beginning of the tutorial, the front hold also strengthens the mid-back, and the back hold also stretches the lats.